Hey, and welcome to The Verge live at CES. I'm Josh Topolsky, of course. I'm here with Dieter Bohn. Dieter,
hello, hello.
Say hello.
How's it
going? We've just finished LG's sexually exciting press event. Actually, not that exciting.
Depends on how much you want to know about washers and refrigerators.
A lot of smart,
exciting, honestly.
A lot of smart stuff. But we did. I think most importantly, what just happened is webOS, the ill-fated Palm operating system.
Ill-fated is a very nice way to put that.
Yeah, ill.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sick.
Ill.
It's dying.
Yeah.
But now it's alive again. That's
ill.
what we're here to talk about.
Right.
The rebirth of webOS. All right, so Dieter, should we talk about the announcements? You just want to talk about webOS for a second? Should we just get into it? So LG announced a bunch of webOS TVs.
Yeah.
At varying sizes. They say that
56% of their TVs next year will be running webOS.
56.
Yeah, it's a very exact
I thought the number was 70.
No, they expect that 70% of their total sales will consist of webOS.
Okay.
And 56% is like of the number of TVs they offer.
Right. So more than half the televisions that LG ships in this calendar year will be webOS.
Yeah,
powered.
that means that they sell at least 50 different models, probably 100, probably more. Because to get to 56 and not a neat round number, never mind.
I don't know the numbers, but here's what I do know. They're running as a native operating system, webOS.
Yep.
Which is has gone through a lot of permutations, and you have kind of the inside story on the design of this new version of webOS.
Yeah.
Just run through the story that you put up just like an hour ago.
Yeah. So yesterday we went and we spoke to Itai Vonshak and Colin Zhao. I'm murdering Colin's last name. Who are the design guys behind webOS on the TV? They came over from HP after LG bought the company, and we walked through what the thinking was behind why webOS looks the way it does, why it doesn't look exactly like webOS on a tablet, because trying to manage cards, the old school cards on a tablet, would be a nightmare. Right. So they redid everything, and they're using this metaphor of a line.
Right. And so, what are the benefits here? Like, why not just use an off-the-shelf? Why not just build their own, grab Linux, do their own distro or whatever, like everybody else, or just use Android as the basis? Like, I don't know if I fully understand why it wouldn't have been easier to just use Android as opposed to webOS.
So
besides the fact that
the main reason is that web apps don't perform very well on Android at all, and they perform pretty good on webOS if you're optimizing it. And it's a lot of smart TV apps are just built in HTML because one, they're already building for the web. They're building it because it's cross-platform, so they can get it to run on all these other smart TV platforms and all these insane set-top boxes and Blu-ray players and everything else that's out there. So if everybody's already making HTML web apps for their content stuff, why not build a platform that's really good at displaying that stuff and running that stuff?
I mean, I guess that makes sense. We were actually, last night we were talking about the TV issue, the situation with the fact that everything is different, every app is different. And I mean, my impression is that this might actually lead to some more consistency, at least on LG television.
It's supposed to. They're going to have an SDK and they're going to release it, and they've got UI guidelines for how it's supposed to work. And the UI guidelines basically are, don't ever leave TV. They want it to be, TV is the thing you're watching, and when you go do something like hit the home button or go to the menu on an app or whatever, that pops up as an overlay over what you're looking at so you don't lose your place.
The Netflix app they show is not an overlay. It's just like a full screen
experience. It's a full screen thing. Well,
yeah.
Forget all that.
So so that whole design guideline thing just
not so much
is thrown out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of the problem is, are individual companies still developing these apps, or are they being developed in-house at
I think it's probably
LG.
individual companies.
I almost said HP, by the way.
Yeah, well.
Should we talk a little bit about the webOS story? I mean, I feel like everybody knows.
Everybody.
It's not really that necessary. But, yesterday I said I was reading my Palm pre-review that I did on Engadget, which was a 10,000-word review. And how long was you did the pre-review,
I was
right?
close to 10,000, although I wasn't, so back then, whenever there was a phone embargo, there was the real embargo, and then there was the embargo whenever everybody actually went because a publication would go early because they were a newspaper and they thought that was okay.
Let's just say it was the Walt Mossberg Wall Street Journal. It was like in the older days
when
blogs got really no respect whatsoever. You would be given a review embargo that wasn't real, and then you'd be scrambling and finishing it, for like the next morning, and Walt's review would go up, and people would be like, "What's happening? Why is this happening to me?"
Yeah,
and so we all realized that
we had very different reviews, by the way. Like you needed to be experiential to talk to a bunch of people, and I needed to be comprehensive to satisfy the insatiable need for every last freaking detail possible. For
you don't think my 10,000 words covered every last detail?
I had
you spent more time on.
I had
Classic.
a giant bullet list of like how every single gesture worked and like the thinking behind it. I had to like, go through all that. Crap.
Are we competing now?
No, we're not. I'm saying yours was better.
No, I don't think it was better. They were different. You know,
it's funny.
I mean, qualitatively better, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course, also very different.
So in this story behind the webOS TV post, there's a narrative arc because webOS launched here at CES, and it was 5 years ago. And in my first draft, like
5 years, almost to the day.
Well, my first one I had 4 because it felt
I'll tell you
closer.
what, it was January. Wait, it was to the day.
Was it to the day?
I think it was January 6th.
Whoa.
Am I crazy? This is some eerie stuff, people. If you're a huge nerd, this is really eerie.
Super huge nerd.
Right
January 8th.
Oh, it was the 8th.
Yeah.
I forget it. Not that eerie.
Never mind.
Yep, not so cool. Anyhow, so it was a huge deal at CES.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember
they launched. They couldn't get on Verizon. They had to go with Sprint. They launched late.
Which, by the way, LG just did a Sprint exclusive launch.
Well, sort of. They're going to be on T-Mobile and AT&T too
for the G Flex.
Yeah,
but it's pretty well established, in my opinion, that if you launch with Sprint,
goodbye.
The product is dead.
Yeah,
like you're screwed. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the smallest. Is it smaller than T-Mobile?
No.
Subscriber base? Do we know? Can we get a fact check on subscriber base? Ross, let me know. Anyhow,
I'm going to get in trouble for not knowing.
They launched webOS in the pre.
Yeah,
Palm launched webOS in the pre. This was like if they don't do this thing,
they're gone.
They're screwed.
Yeah, and they were already kind of late, and we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and nobody expected what they did.
Yeah.
Nobody expected
it was incredible. In my opinion, it's still first off one of the greatest CES demos of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But in terms of, and really skillfully put together and really thoughtfully done. A real moment for me. That sounds so insane. Real moment for me, like having been a Palm fanboy, and really wanting to see them succeed. Seeing them pull off what they pulled off at CES. Of course, it was all smoke and mirrors because the product was not done at all.
Yeah.
They were 6 months away from shipping.
Yeah.
And what they showed to this day, I think, is still incredibly advanced.
Yeah.
The best part about it, I was talking about this last night, the syncing was a huge deal. They showed, by the way, remember when syncing was a thing and everybody was like, how am I going to sync this with iTunes? They showed how you can sync the pre, you could sync the pre with, I like how we're supposed to be talking about webOS on television, and we're just being nostalgic about webOS on phones. But how you could sync with iTunes was a huge deal, and then Apple killed it, basically. But anyhow, it was 5 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah.
They did that at CES. And since then, webOS has just been nosediving.
Well, they had a little moment, and then it was they couldn't get support from carriers in the U.S. and they needed it. They kept on launching stuff late. The performance wasn't very good. They ran out of money, basically. And a bunch of companies were like, we're going to buy them. We're going to buy them for IP. We're going to buy them for this. HP bought them, and then HP CEO got caught in a sex scandal, and they got a new CEO who didn't believe in them.
That's right.
And he set the thing on fire. The Leopotheker, better known as the Apothecalypse.
Is that what it's known as?
It's known as the Apothecalypse.
Really?
Like, people within both the webOS division, Palm division, and within HP at large had no idea it was coming.
He was like a spreadsheet.
Everybody
dude. He was a businessman.
Yeah.
He didn't have the passion.
Yeah.
He was a passionless bastard from hell.
Yeah.
Is that cool to say? That's probably liable. I'm probably going to be sued by his people.
That's all right.
Does he have people? He got a golden parachute and got out.
Yeah, and now the rest of the company, now Meg Whitman is trying to pick up the pieces.
Meg Whitman, I love. She's great, wonderful lady. So anyhow, so
they open source it, and then LG buys the rest of it. And this was February last year. LG bought like a bunch of webOS. HP kept some. It was weird, but they bought them, and we were like, well, guys, why do you need webOS to make smart TVs? And they had no answer for us then, and we have the answer now. And the answer is HTML apps run really well on it, and two, and I think this is a more important thing. They managed to pick up some really good designers.
Yeah.
I think the design of this is probably my favorite Smart T interface that I've seen, and that's not really saying much, but it's pretty good with one major exception.
What?
Beanbird.
What?
Beanbird.
You love Beanbird.
I kind of like Beanbird.
Can you explain Beanbird?
So, Beanbird is a
We get an image of
cartoon
Beanbird on
bird
the screen.
that's shaped like a bean, and it helps you get through
There
the
he
setup
is.
process. There he is. Like,
Why is
he's protesting that you didn't set up your Wi-Fi right there. He's like, you should really do it.
Beanbird's pretty cute.
Yeah, I know, right?
Come on.
So, I mean, it's an easy target, though, is the thing. Is that people are going to be making fun of it, but he's just there to help you set up.
Why don't
your
they just
TV.
call him like the webOS bird or something, or like Birdie?
Because he looks like a bean.
Yeah, but do they actually refer to him as Beanbird?
Yeah, like there's like a Korean word.
I just like bean
Korean
elicits
press release.
lots of things that you don't want to hug.
Just a bean.
Non-hugging items are associated with beans.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So the problem I'm trying to solve is nobody ever sets up their smart TVs, and then your smart TV sucks if you don't set it up.
This is great.
So,
Look at that shot. So Beanbird doesn't have wings or arms.
yeah, he's magical.
I feel like it's a sad situation for him.
Oh, you think that he's?
Well, I feel like it would be better to have wings or arms.
Yeah.
If you're if you're a bird,
Right.
hard to fly without wings.
Yeah.
No arms, hard to log
Grab
into
things.
your
All you got
hard
is
to
a
log
beak.
on to your webOS TV.
Right.
And
'Cause
check out the
uses
new
motion
House of
remote.
Cards season 2.
That's right.
By the way, the trailer for
you can
season
do.
2 is available on the Verge right now. You can check it out.
Reed Hastings was on the stage.
Reed Hastings. So this was really
Yeah,
interesting.
CEO
Reed
of
Hastings
Netflix.
got on stage at the LG event and was basically like, LG's awesome. Everybody. This is the problem, by the way. You have to buy an LG television.
Yeah.
And like LG's not really known for having the greatest televisions.
Yeah.
They make fine televisions. Everybody makes okay televisions. But when you think about the best television, you're like, oh, that's Panasonic or Sony or Pioneer.
Yeah.
When they
So
made,
like,
when
the
they
fundamental
made
problem is like when you go to buy a television, are you going to get the best television that you like in terms of picture quality for the money that you're going to spend? Or do you want to get the webOS interface? I'm thinking you want to get the best picture quality for the money because you know what?
Right.
I'll just go buy a Roku. I'll just
Right,
go
no,
buy
I
an
mean,
Xbox One. I'll just go buy
that's
a
the
whatever.
thing. Like their interface looks really awesome, but I just bought a Roku. I don't replace my TVs that often.
Yeah.
The Roku does what they're doing in the sense that it's like a cohesive, sort of Actually, I will say this: if they could get the UI completely in sync, like completely following guidelines,
Yeah. That would be.
I think that would be a really big deal.
Right.
Do they have an IR blaster solution with these guys?
So the LG motion remote can work as a universal remote. They're not trying to be super comprehensive and cover everything, but they say that they'll support the big stuff that you care about. So they'll support your DVD player, Blu-ray player, your Xbox, your cable box.
But so but the cable support is just.
I don't think it integrates with the guide.
Right.
But I don't know like the full details. It was we were talking mainly about the design, so it's possible.
Right.
But what's interesting is everything that you want to watch is just like these little cards, these little like vertical slashes of things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so when you plug a new box into it, like if you plug an Xbox One into it, it'll switch to it, and then it'll add a card, and it'll label it Xbox One because it can detect that it's an Xbox One that you
Right.
got. And then
Right.
instead of like toggling through your input button over and over and over again, you like just go down to your card for that input.
I mean, I will say that sounds kind of great. I mean, but one of the things that I liked about, speaking of the Xbox One, and they don't have it quite right because there's things that you can't do, but it almost ingests the cable input into the interface of the Xbox One.
Well, almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that even if they offered that amount of functionality with this, it would be an improvement because it would again take that cohesive interface
Right.
and make your cable box part of that interface. And it's still like you're bouncing between those things. I mean, it's less of a problem now, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
Cable interfaces have gotten slightly better. I mean, I'll say this: Time Warner just refreshed their interface.
Is it okay?
Comparatively to the previous Time Warner interface, it's like a heaven. It's like the most
instead
advanced.
of a punch in the
it's
face,
like the
it's a
most,
slap in
yeah,
the face.
it's like the most advanced UI ever compared to like the last version of it. But I do think, it's not for most consumers. That's not that big of a concern. But I also think for most consumers, they're not aware of the options and how to access them on their televisions.
Right.
And I don't know if making a better smart TV with a better interface necessarily helps them get there.
Well, so here's the thing with like what was possible for them is when you're dealing with TV and doing stuff. It's not a glass ceiling. It's like a steel reinforced concrete ceiling of what's possible. And Microsoft hit it and couldn't break through.
Right.
You know, LG is not going to be able to
LG
break
can't
through that.
get
There's
where
no way that
Microsoft
they can do
couldn't
that.
get.
You cannot get cable to like give up their stuff and play
And
ball
there's
with your system.
there's a phantom belief that Apple will get there, but thus far they haven't been able to get
They've been
there.
sitting there upside down, strapped with a jackhammer for the past 5 years, and
Right.
we're still waiting to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's why we haven't seen any big. I mean, everybody claims this year is going to be the year of the Apple TV,
Yeah,
but
I hope
think
so.
I think that actually explains a lot about why we haven't seen more action there and more motion.
Yeah.
So we should talk about some of the other LG announcements. Which are, why don't you go through the list?
So they had the LifeBand Touch, which is LG's fitness tracker.
Yeah.
It's a water resistant, whatever. It's got an OLED display. It does smartphone notifications, exercise goals.
Proprietary LG tracking.
Yeah, I think so. And then it hooks up with like a little MP3 player that the earphones will monitor your heart rate, like through the earphones, and it also like checks your pulse and checks blood flow apparently.
Right.
So that's kind of cool and weird. But I mean, honestly, it's like they built it because they could. It's
I
another
think that's cool, but I think
whatever.
the biggest problem with these devices, particularly for an LG, is it's proprietary. It's their you got to buy into their software, their whole ecosystem, and who is buying into LG's, proprietary health ecosystem? I mean, that doesn't sound like. I mean, what we really need.
No, I mean, I don't think most people are thinking about. I mean, you and I care a lot about a proprietary health ecosystem, and eventually people will get to caring about that. But like, you walk into Best Buy, you're like, I want a fitness tracker. You're just gonna get one. And
Nobody walks into Best Buy and says, I want a fitness tracker.
Really?
I don't think so.
Really?
First off, Best Buy.
I
you
think
mean Best Buy in America?
Sure.
In America, nobody walks into Best Buy and says, I want a fitness tracker. They're
They
like, I
walk in and
want
say,
the biggest television you have for as cheap as humanly possible. And then they leave
big gulp on the way
Then they
out.
leave with that, and they've been upsold a $150 HDMI monster HDMI cable.
Yeah.
That's the Best Buy experience, I think, for the vast majority of
Yep.
Americans, at least. I don't think people go in and they're like, I need a fitness tracker. Which one should I get? What I do think they do is they go in and they say, I've heard about some people go in and say, I've heard about this Fitbit thing.
Right.
Or the Fuel Band.
Yeah.
Again, two proprietary closed systems where you can't get your data out.
Right.
It would just be nice if LG had gone, hey, we want to partner with Fitbit or with Nike or someone, not the Nike wants to partner with LG, but had done something where it's like, this is going to work with the rest of the stuff that you do.
Right. No, I feel like they just made it because they could, right? Like it does smartphone notifications, so that's cool. But like it's like, I don't know. It's like it's a Samsung move. Like we can build this thing. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's not going to kill us. We might as well just do it. We'll sell a few, and that'll be
Right.
fine.
So that's called the
That is the LifeBand
Touch
fitness tracker.
You got to put touch or something in it. An I. You have to have a lowercase I or a touch in it.
Well, I think it's camel cased. So.
Oh, good.
No,
Great.
it's not. It's LifeBand and capital T Touch. So
What else?
It's safe.
What else?
From LG, the Flex is coming to the U.S.
Bigger TV. Oh yeah, the Flex. Well,
Yeah.
we talked about this already. The
Yeah,
Flex
yeah.
is coming, starting with Sprint. So great.
Yeah.
We reviewed the Flex.
Yes, we
didn't like it that
Not a
much.
big fan of the Flex.
I've used the Flex. First off, it's gigantic. It is massive.
There are enormous phones,
Here it
and then
is.
there are enormous phones that remind you they're enormous all the time.
And
this
the
is
curve,
the latter.
the curve, I don't get. I mean, the curve to me seems like the most superfluous, gimmicky thing.
Yeah.
It is not even. I was gonna say not even. Remember when there were a couple phones that had a 3D screen?
Yeah.
Or a 3D camera. The curve is akin to that. And LG is like all over the gimmicks. They have the button on the back.
Oh, they
They've
were
got this curved screen.
Yeah.
Which is meant to compete with Samsung's curved screen. And when I used it, I could not see the. I mean, I heard there was this argument like, oh, it'll reduce glare.
No,
But
so they
doesn't
were
really
defending it or
reduce
talking
glare.
about it in the keynote today, and it improves sound quality because the speaker's off the table. It allows you to hear better, hold better, and view better. It improves grip because you can, like, I don't know, you don't have to hold it. Whatever. That's what they're saying, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just watching that person step on the phone.
Oh, right.
I mean, we're sure it's made to do that.
Meh.
I mean, do we know for a fact that the phone is made to do that, or were we
It's
just
got
doing
the
that?
Wolverine plastic on the back.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got a
Feels
flexible
like,
battery.
Feels like a mistake.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
coming
think-
to Sprint, AT&T.
But I don't know why you need a phone. It's like, hey, you know what? If you had made the phone flat, it wouldn't have to flex when somebody stepped on it. What are they saying? It'll break. It won't break. Is that why it's curved?
They're saying,
I mean, their selling point was, from what I understood, their selling point was, it feels really great to hold. It curves your face.
No.
To me, it's like it curves away. And I guess a phone, but a phone you had to hold onto the curved part. That was the reason for the curve. Or this.
Your face is, I mean, well, your face might be perfectly flat. But
my face is perfectly flat. Yeah. It's like a two-dimensional object.
You sprung out of Max Headroom.
Can you even see my face right now?
No.
You can see it now.
Oh, there you are.
Right.
And now you're back.
It's just nothing.
Where'd you go? Okay, hey.
Just like Flatland.
Right. You know what we should mention?
Yes. No.
Well, actually, two things.
Yes.
One of them is like going way back to the beginning.
Lay it on me.
Whatever.
Just put it down. Throw it down.
Vizio said we're not making 3D TVs anymore.
3D's dead. We said last year 3D's dead.
And now they've admitted it.
3D is dead.
Yeah.
I mean, consumers don't care about 3D. They don't want to watch 3D in their homes. If you showed them a TV that had immaculate, perfect 3D.
Something just happened behind us.
Did we get hit by...
It may have been...
Were we hit by something? Does anybody know what that was?
Someone may have thrown a brick. Or maybe someone threw a G-Flex at us. It's possible.
LG is retaliating for the comments we made about the G-Flex. Seriously, what was that? We should find out.
We'll figure it out.
If this, last night I was like, I really want a backhoe to just come driving through the tent.
And now you're going to get.
And now the backhoe is actually going to.
It's going to be great.
So this could be our last broadcast.
Thanks for watching.
We had a great time. We had a great time with you guys. Okay. Anyhow, what were we just talking about?
Oh, just thank God that companies are beginning to give up on 3D.
Yeah. Well, 3D. I mean, 3D is. I was going to say, if you were like, here's the TV. It looks beautiful, perfect, exactly normal. But you can switch it into 3D mode without glasses, and it'll show you 3D, and it will be perfect. There's not going to be weird tearing or blurring or interlacing or whatever. Maybe somebody would use it.
Yeah.
But like you have to give them that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the deal with ticket sales for 3D movies? Well, how are they doing?
Well, they do better, but it's because there's like no other option.
But I don't think they're doing as well as they were.
They're not
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and they also cost more, so like figuring out the numbers is really.
3D was always a gimmick, in my opinion. I mean, James Cameron will tell you that it's a life-changing experience. Now, I have not seen Gravity in 3D, and everybody says Gravity is the movie that 3D was made for. So I could be wrong.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
You haven't seen it
happy.
yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
It's been ruined.
We're the two people.
I know,
no, hey.
I know.
Spoiler alert.
Ron dies.
Now, come on. Ron from Harry Potter? Ron Weasley from Harry Potter died at the end of Gravity? He's like, hey, guys, and she gets shot by an alien.
Yeah.
That's what would happen, right? Ron, okay. I think we're nearly done talking about LG. Is there anything else to talk about with LG?
No, I think that's fine.
There's really nothing else?
I mean, we have no idea if they're going to make a phone. And if you make a phone or tablet LG, please go back and use that Mochi UI that we wrote about last week, because that's pretty sick. That's it. That's my open request. I haven't heard what you thought of it yet.
The webOS stuff.
The lost.
I think it's
design.
awesome.
Yeah.
Can you use that UI somewhere?
No. There are webOS fans currently theming the touchpad with it. They're like re-skinning the touchpad to look like it. Well, it won't do all the crazy card stuff, but it'll look like it.
I mean the version of webOS. By the way, if you haven't seen this, go see it. Dieter did kind of like expose on the old. God, we're such losers.
I know.
It's out of control.
I promised myself I'd stop talking
old
about
Palm
webOS.
phones that were never made. And webOS versions that never came to be, and they are the phones are whatever. The phones and tablets are completely whatever.
The convertible's okay.
I blame HP for those designs. I think they're pretty bad. But the interface looks really awesome, and I wish it had existed. It's like the perfect middle ground between flat and skeuomorphic, and it's just really beautiful, very elegant. I mean, here's a look at it.
Yeah,
really elegant and some extremely thoughtful design ideas.
Yeah.
It just makes me so bummed that it never came to be. Like, look at that. You want to use that calendar. You want to touch those blobs of information. Blobs of information are the future. You know?
One last thing, and we can go out. NVIDIA's new 192 core K1.
Yeah.
We saw it. They demoed it in an extremely long keynote.
Yeah. Not really LG related.
No.
Although
But
they
it
did
just-
have-
it happened yesterday. I want to just bring it up.
Yeah.
And say it looked great.
Yeah, if you didn't
but-
see it last night, NVIDIA, it was the most boring, one of the most boring keynotes of all time. I mean, truly mind-numbing in areas.
Yeah.
And anyhow, they announced 192 core mobile. It's basically the new Tegra.
Yeah.
And it is...
They say it's a console grade processor.
No, it's
for
capable of
tablets.
some really... They showed off
Yeah.
Unreal 4 engine on
Yeah.
it. And if they can get that into phones and get games using it, it's
Yeah.
definitely...
Tegra's kind of not in the best spot.
It's just
right
a quick
now.
recap of stuff
Yeah.
you might have missed last night, though. Though I will say, this is a good time to actually say it. We're going to be doing Verge Live all day after Samsung's event today at 3 o'clock, at 3 p.m. Pacific, right? 3 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, that's right.
6 p.m. ET. We will be back doing Verge Live. I don't know who's going to be on that. I'll be here.
It will not be me.
Not you. We don't know. Who knows? Might just be the person who drove the backhoe into the tent. And then tonight at what time?
6.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, at 9 o'clock on the East Coast, 6 p.m. Pacific, Vergecast, After Dark, After Hours.
Both.
No, what do we call it?
It'll be after
It'll be
hours
both.
and after dark.
And shit's gonna get real nasty. And there I've sworn on our live recap. That should be only Vergecast behavior, but
Yeah.
you know what? We're on the internet. We can do whatever we want. We don't have some honchos, some head honchos breathing down our neck.
Yeah.
Some sensors.
They're going to throw bird beans at us.
Nobody's gonna throw bird beans at us.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for me to get some coffee. Yeah. All right. That's the Verge Live post LG. We'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. East Coast to talk about Samsung's event. And all day long, we're going to be streaming live events. We're going to have lots of we're going to have a crazy amount of news today. Tons of reports, tons of hands-ons and first looks. And it's going to get very hot and heavy, very sexy. So stay tuned to The Verge, stay tuned here, and we'll see you guys after the Samsung event.